Here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, our restaurants are finally opening, even though our celebrated arts markets are closed for the season. White House spokesman Jim Caldwell looks like he's taking up permanent residence, but he's still in daily contact with Washington and has kindly agreed to share with us some of the latest developments concerning the coronavirus and other political news. Jim Caldwell. Hello everyone, it's great to be with you again. Now, I hope that you're all enjoying this return to normal. Yeah, isolation really rubbed American values the wrong way. We got to live our lives, am I right? Let's just pivot over to what's important now. If we go ahead and quit testing as much, we're going to flatten the curve. And if we quit testing altogether, we're done with this thing. So let's talk about what's really important here now, the protests. Now, top economic advisor Larry Kudlow has stated emphatically that there is no systemic racism in American business. He's the top economic White House advisors, and he ought to know, right? This is not some unpaid college intern. We got to start trusting our experts, am I right? So, the protests are being driven by dangerous radicals and paid actors. Like that 50-year-old guy who dressed up as a 75-year-old guy in Buffalo, faked his fall and used a blood bag to make it look real. You got to be a real professional to pull that off. Now, speaking of unpaid actors, you might have seen the Craigslist ad looking for actors, particularly people of color, to come out to the rallies. Now, you'll be carrying a sign and you'll be seen on TV. You can't go wrong with that. And this is not all the president is doing for minority communities. You might have forgotten, but several years ago, we rolled out the Inner City Initiative. Now, that gets entrepreneurs, mostly white people I should add, to come into the inner city and sink a lot of money into redeveloping these neighborhoods. Okay, they get tax incentives and some subsidies, but the government is putting a lot of money into redeveloping all these old neighborhoods. Now, some people might be put out of their homes, but one day they can put their kids in the back of the car, drive by, point out to all these beautiful buildings and say, we used to live there. This president is the greatest friend of minority concerns in the history of America. Okay, let's pivot over to this week's to sue list. Now, the White House is suing CNN. How dare they publish a poll showing the president's behind? No one believes that. And John Bolton, he was serving under the pleasure of the president. Anything he said or did is top secret. And what about this guy who said that the president was taking refuge in the bunker underneath the White House? That, as soon as we find out who that is, he's going to get sued big time. It's bunk. That is pure bunker. And also, the president's niece, Mary, she signed a non-disclosure agreement. That's NDA. We like to think of that as not doing anything, especially not writing a tell-all book. Now, the president doesn't release any hush money unless he's got a rock-solid NDA. And he's released more hush money than most of you are going to make in your lifetimes. Okay, now, moving forward. As long as people sign the waivers, the rallies are safe. And the hospitals still have a little room, so if there's any pre-existing conditions, they're going to be able to take care of that just fine. Now, you can go ahead and wear a mask if you feel more comfortable with that. If you're like me and you have a hard time talking with that thing on, or you ate onions last night and you can't stand your own breath, here's a little trick you can do. Okay, you get out your scissors here, and you take your mask and just trim away at that sucker. Now, you get that thing on. There you go. You're protected and you can talk just fine. Okay, so going forward now, If you have any of that hydroxychloro, you know, the stuff the president was taking, excuse me, this thing is just gets in the way, you know, go ahead and take that because they're going to try to ban it sooner or later. I'm sorry, you know, these people are just crazy. You know, put a little Clorox in there and it'll be even stronger. Keep stockpiling, especially ammunition. Never know when we're going to need that. And get ready for the biggest economic recovery in American history. All signs point to it happening any moment now. Okay, thanks for looking in, and I look forward to seeing you again really soon.